Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hey, welcome back. Yay. I'm so glad we are on this thing. This is our second episode in the half season, I guess, a quarter
Yeah.
season. So, anywho, episode 41, folks,
Yes.
our heartbeats, our listeners, our wonderful people out there. And this is taking charge of your life. Wow. I'm telling you, we've gotten some lessons in that over these past, year and a half through the
Yes.
pandemic and all the things. And yeah, this is great. So definitely looking forward to digging into this topic. And we're also curious to hear what our heartbeats and our listeners have to say too. So I think as we have to steal this from Jeanette, because Jeanette always, does such a great job of letting us know that we have to take action, right? So we can say we're doing all these things and, oh, we're going to do this and I'm going to do, that does include taking charge of your life. That is part of this whole thing. So yes, taking action, we'll start with that, and doing something, and small steps are still steps in the process. Whether it's your dreams, whether it's your career, whether it's a conversation you have to have with a family member, whatever it is, right? But taking charge of your life. So I'll start with Shauna. I see if y'all are watching this video, her hair just blowing in the wind, and she's taking charge of that weather out there. That's for sure. Beautiful summer day.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yes, I love the
Yes.
summer. That's one of my middle names. You probably didn't know that.
No, but Shauna Summer.
Yeah.
Shauna Summer. I like the ring of that.
Yep. That's one of my middle names. My other one is Fiesta.
Well, I mean, we knew.
That's a given.
Easy.
That's a given.
That was easy.
So taking charge of your life. Speaking of fiestas, so in my life, I feel like I have to have a fiesta in everything that I do, or I'm not having fun with life, right? So in order to take charge for myself, and the planning that I put for myself is I operate my life through feelings and what feels good to me. And the last 2 years, I'm a different person now because I unexpectedly lost my husband. We were together for 24 years. So we were united. We were one. We were, all of the things. And now I had to get to relearn and re-know myself all over again and feel my way through. And I'm glad that I always journal and I do mirror talk and reflections and talk to myself so that I understand what my innermost thoughts really are and connect to that. And when I stick to that and I stick to my intuition, and of course I value my tribe's opinion, and I do value opinions of people that I know genuinely love me and hold me in high regards. Yet at the end of the day, I still have to make the decisions for myself on how I want to take charge of my life. And one of the things that shapes me, I'm like a rebel in a sense. Like if someone says I can't do something, I'm like, watch me, so I'm kind of like, I kind of like when people say I can't do things or certain things or have my life a certain way, because it gives me something to challenge and to go after and to prove to myself that I can have the life of my dreams and what I'm looking for. And it does take small steps. So for example, I've recently relocated to North Carolina. Many people don't know that I've been trying to relocate for 30 years, maybe longer than that. It was always a thing. When I finished high school, I'm going to live somewhere else. I thought I was going to use it through college. It didn't work out that way. Then I thought I was going to use it for different avenues. But I had a travel life. So I said, well, part of my travel life is going to be investigating other cities and places and seeing what the lifestyles are and seeing where would I like to be able to, spend some time at in the future if I ever have the opportunity to do it. And North Carolina was one of those places that I studied. And so I think that was considered taking small steps and then speaking to people that already lived there or lived around there or maybe, had some experiences there. So yeah, taking charge of your life, because if you don't, somebody else will. And I'm not having that.
Yeah.
A new show on HGTV, Shauna. It's called I think it's called Live Anywhere or something like that. And so it's these people that, because now they can work remotely, they have the option to live or work from anywhere. And so they're like looking at like a new home in like their city and in like 2 other places in different states. And
Okay.
I probably watched like, I don't know, 6 episodes yesterday. It's really good though. That's what you made me think of when you said that. Cause now like a lot of people have that opportunity to just kind of like pack up and move anywhere.
I'm going to watch that because I know deep down I'm a gypsy and I believe I have gypsy in my blood.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's all great. So, I mean, Shauna, you've taken leaps and bounds, but you've also taken the small steps in between that, and you've taken the action along the way. So just your move to North Carolina, congratulations on that. I know we have been talking about that since like last year. And I remember when you hopped on Marco Polo and you said, hey, I think this is where I want to be. You started researching, you went down a couple times, and it just, I would say North Carolina looks great on you. So
yes.
It truly does. So I'm so glad we had the opportunity to visit as well. Like I think right before you moved, we were the 3 of us or 4 of us, including Maddie, were in Raleigh, a few weeks back. So that just kind of solidified the deal for us. And it just showed how you showed up and you took that action, which is like the theme of this whole episode. So yeah, we love that. Yeah, and I think our audience and our listeners, heartbeats can benefit from that as well. So Jeanette, what about you? Because I feel like you kind of coined this phrase, taking action. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to do something today. I got to stop talking and all these journals. Great to have all the journals and all the things. And I think I'm stealing that from Jeanette from a previous episode. And it's just, but if you have all the stuff and you're not taking the steps to make it happen, then what are you doing? So can you say a little bit, Jeanette?
Yeah, and I think it's exactly that, Lynda. I think that's why I started saying that, is because I was guilty of planning and then planning again and making pretty plans and then putting all the plans together and talking about my plans. And it was like, but when you gonna do something with these plans? Like you done made a million plans and ain't took one step forward and done a single thing. So that's kind of where that came from. Is just out of a place of needing to force myself to take my own action and taking small steps. And I think that's like the biggest thing that holds us back from moving forward, is because we see that end goal and it just seems so overwhelming. Like I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to, whatever that goal is. Like, even if it was like Shauna moving to North Carolina, like, that example of just, okay, I'm just going to go visit, that's a step that you can take towards what you want to do. And so I don't know, I just live, that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm just trying to live that out every day, and being not intentional isn't the word I'm looking for, but acknowledging the small things that I do that I do and that it is forward movement, right? So as long as you're taking action and you're doing something, you're moving forward. If you're standing still, then you're not going anywhere, and you could also be like holding yourself back even further. So in my personal business and in my career, working with entrepreneurs, that is something that we talk about a lot, is starting small and just taking small steps to move the needle forward, and not comparing your journey to someone else's. So like whatever that time frame is for you, if you got to take 1,000,000 steps to get to your end goal and someone else is taking 1,000 steps to get to theirs, that's fine. It's your journey. So I would just say break it down and find something small that you can do. Whatever it is. Like I'm looking at this room right now, like, Lord, I need to like do something with this room. And like one thing for me is like, you should just do your laundry, and that will be like a step for me today.
I think we can all relate to that. Oh my gosh.
Step 1.
Yes.
Up and take it downstairs.
and we love your pretty plans, Jeanette. I mean, you show us some of the most awesomest. Like, I think you showed us something recently.
Yeah, I love that tool.
That tool is I'm like, wow, look at this. I can really do this. Like, but then it's all the things that grow. And then I have like a driveway long of things that I like to take on everything. And it's like, oh, I can do all of this. And then next thing you know, the clothes aren't folded. The closet is still a mess. So I recently had to take action on that kind of stuff, like doing things. I procrastinate on those things. People don't believe, oh, you're so organized. You're not a procrastinator. Yes, I am. Yeah. That's the way I am. I'm like, oh, this house has to be done. I don't want to do this. Finally, a few weeks ago, I actually did, get the closets done. I just had to do it. I had to lock myself in the house for the whole day, not go out to my favorite restaurant, not go to the drive-through, not do all the things that I'm used to doing. I had to lock myself in the house. I think with you ladies on Marco Polo, I did that. I cleaned up and just got myself together, organized. It's like 7 hours to do. When it comes to this stuff, like the podcast and my businesses and work stuff, I'll do that stuff all day long. But when it comes to like organizing clothes and home, man, I don't want to do it. So I avoid it. So that's another thing, avoidance,
Avoidance.
And I think that's the thing, like when you was like, oh, I'm a procrastinator. And I think it's a misconception that people procrastinate because they're lazy, and they're really not. And I really had to do some like self-reflection some years ago to figure out like, why am I procrastinating on like these things that I want to do? And it could be several things. One, it could be, a fear, like, I'm scared to move forward. Like, what does this look like for me if I do make this, like for Shauna, if I do take this move and move to North Carolina, like, it could be a fear for people there, like to move somewhere else or make a change in their career. Or it could be, in Lynda's case with the decluttering, it's so overwhelming. Like, where do I start? Like, I don't even know where to start. And so I'm just not going to do anything. And then for a lot of us, we don't like to ask for help. So then you're really stuck in there. So maybe your first step is asking somebody for help and or accountability. Like, I just feel like with procrastination, it's deeper than just, oh, you're just lazy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think after doing that, I felt so good getting rid of the junk. I mean, a lot of it were the kids' things. I said, okay, guys, you guys are going to put your stuff in the middle of the floor so that we were forced to do it. We can't keep stepping over clothes and all of that. So getting them involved too. And they didn't say by midnight, I'm going to keep this, it's gone. And so that helped me as well, setting up that kind of system to take action on all this clutter. I just couldn't believe like how much stuff it was. And I think at one point I even set a timer because I wanted to reward. So part of this is a reward system too. So if you're thinking reward yourself, right? So I was like, okay, 30 minutes. Ooh, my favorite show. I want to binge it so I can watch. So I had to do the work first. And that was a reward, part of it too. So I set 30 minutes and said, all right, I'm going to see if I can knock this out. And I actually did it in like 29 minutes. So that was like, okay, no more procrastinating. Sure I'm taking action on these things. We're putting the stuff away. We're not going to leave it in the middle of the floor for another night for it just to sit there. And you just feel so much better. So like this weekend, for example, I'm like, oh, great. I can do some extra things and not have to worry about it. And I can actually find stuff, which is I think key. It's a key component too.
Yeah, setting a timer, Shauna. I know you use the Pomodoro Method as well.
The method I can't pronounce. Pomegranate.
Pomegranate. Now,
I use the pomegranate method.
The Pomodoro Method, yes.
Oh man, I love that, Shauna. Pomegranate martini sounds even better. So
I had a pomegranate mojito last night.
You did?
Yeah.
Not to get off track. See, there I go, Jeanette. I'm like a squirrel. Woo,
it was I don't like pomegranate. I don't. But for some reason, this drink sounded interesting.
I love pomegranates.
No me gusta. No me gusta. But this mojito, let me tell you, it was something special.
That sounds really good.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Did you hear what I said?
Well, thank you. I missed it.
I said, she's serious when she said it in Spanish.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Brain switch.
Love it.
Brain switched.
When your Spanish friends start talking to you, when your Latino friends start talking to you in Spanish, just back off.
You know it's real.
Back off. Say no more.
Okay. Noted.
You got it.
Noted. Yeah. And I think your journey to taking action doesn't look like anyone else's. So taking time to figure out who you are, what you work best in, like if it's a reward system that works for you, okay, if I'm going to do this because I like to be rewarded. I love my TV shows. I love my social media. I'm like, I'm going to get on the phone and talk to somebody for an hour. Maybe that phone, talk to somebody for an hour. Maybe you're doing stuff while you're on the phone. That works for me. That works really well.
Marco Polo, let me tell y'all how many times y'all got me through life.
Yeah, exactly.
And I found my AirPods, my Apple thingies that I lost. And now I see.
I see Maddie coming over.
Y'all love it so much. Pomegranate and the Apple thingies.
Yeah, the pomegranate method. Yeah, and the Apple thingies. We got you.
And the Apple thingies. When, I see why you love it so much with the Marco Polo, because see, I like video. That's the problem with me. Is when y'all talking, I want to watch y'all all the time. And so when I found those this weekend, I was like, pop those in, leave the phone there, catch up. I had to catch up on a few.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is a whole new world. No wonder why they be bragging about their little pod so much.
Yes.
Anytime, awesome. I swear, Lynda be having them in her ear 24/7.
That's why they die all the time. That's why I had to buy. Actually, I think so. One of our heartbeats gave me this. Kim gave me this. It's a little holder for.
Yes, so adorable.
Yeah, it's so cute.
I'm gonna need something like that so I don't lose them again.
So you don't lose them, right? These are perfect. So I was like, that way, you don't lose them, and all the things. But yeah, just gotta charge them. That's what I have to remember. But yeah, that's great. Yeah, so just knowing who you are, taking the time to figure out, like, the AirPods thing works well. I can leave my phone downstairs, but also if you're kind of that person who may be slow to action in some areas, but that you function well in others, maybe combine the two. Like, okay, I can do something fun while I'm cleaning this clutter. Or, you turn on Spotify, play some music. That got me through last weekend. I was like, I hadn't thought of that before. So I took one of my devices upstairs, hooked it up, and there was the music time.
I can't do anything without music.
That got me through. Yeah.
Shauna, I don't know if you know, me and Lynda was talking about this one day. I don't know where you at. Me and Lynda was talking about when Shauna be on Marco Polo sometimes, she have her music on. I'm like, why is she yelling at us? Like, we in the club. Like, all you have to do is turn it down. It's not go to the DJ. You are the DJ.
Yeah, Jeanette's
yelling at music. I'll be cracking up laughing. I can't even focus on what she's saying because I'll just be laughing so hard. Like, trying to be in the club.
I have another device. I can't. I have to have.
I love it though. I think it's great.
Trying to be in the cut. I'll be like, ooh, that's a nice song.
I love music too though. I'm with you. I love music too.
It helps me move, and it's healing. It's constantly healing so many different parts of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then forget about it. You find when you want to repeat, that's a meditation song right there. Mm-hmm. That you could just, I love music, so can't do nothing without it.
So how
many times we go on IG and I'm like, I want to hear our theme song. Is it possible that we could do the theme song? And
I already know when you about to say it too.
I know. Like, yes.
What? Tell me why again we can't play this? Oh, okay. All right.
Is there a way we can play this?
But yeah, so one of my tips for like when it comes to knowing yourself and the process of like taking action or getting your butt moving, is like, when are you trying to do these things? Like, are you fighting against something else? Like, because it's like, oh, I should do this on Saturday. Like, I should spend my Saturday cleaning. I've surrendered to the fact that I don't want to, Saturday is my Sabbath and I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to clean nothing. I just want to sit still and just be. Like, whether it's be with my kids, be with my husband, be with the TV, be in my thoughts. Like, I don't want to do nothing. So don't like fight against like what nature is trying to tell you. Like, trying to do things because like, well, everybody else, or this is how my mom did it when I grew up. We got up every Saturday morning. We had to clean up. That is not the life for me. I'm sorry, Mom. Not sorry. Not cleaning baseboards on a Saturday morning with a hot bucket of soap and pine sol.
And that would be a no for me.
Yep, right. That's a no for me as well.
That's a negative. Yes. Saturdays, I just want to hang loose and kick it.
And it's funny because like my husband is like, Corey's the opposite, right? So Saturday he wants to like go. He was gone like all day Saturday with sports stuff for the kids and running and running. I'm like, have fun. I'll be like, and then Sunday is his like relaxed, chill day. And I'm like, you want to go? He's like, no, I'm not doing nothing. It's Sunday. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, I don't want to do my mom. That's how my mom, we would clean up on Saturdays. And I just did everything the opposite. Just I made an exception for the clutter stuff, but typically I just don't. It's just a lot. And I think lives have changed, you know, especially with, you know, post-pandemic or during pandemic or wherever we're in right now with longer work hours, you know, 10, 12-hour work days. It's like the last thing I want to do on a Saturday is like clean up because I've been working all week. And, you know, it's just, it's very heavy. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want, that's not the life I want.
Yeah. Or like after having a long work day, like, do you really want to like go declutter? No. Like,
I'm tired. I get up at 5:30 every day. By 9:30, 10, y'all know I'm out. I'm fighting to stay awake. Like, why am I staying awake? What am I staying awake for? Knowing that I'm a morning person. So get up in the morning, Lynda, and do what you need to do. So yeah, I have to tell myself that.
I have to tell myself to stop.
Oh, do you?
That's one thing, like in reflecting this week using that new app I was telling y'all about and showing y'all. I use it to plan like my day and like track my time and, you know, my to-do list, and brings all your like apps and everything together in one place. And it was like, oh, you finished everything on your list. And I was like, but I'm still awake. Like I could do more. And like it took, when I tell you, I sat there for like 5 minutes debating on whether I should add something else to that list or if I should just shut down. Because it tells you, it has a whole shutdown thing. And it was like, shut down your day. And then like when you finish it, it pops up like a white screen and it's like, your day is done. Like close your computer and be done. So like it took a lot of me, and I had to realize like, oh, so I'm really productive, you know, more productive than I thought I was. But what happens is I move into being busy, just trying to do extra stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, then you're worn out and drained and tired and irritable and all the things. So yeah. Acknowledge when you've done stuff and you've taken steps, and give yourself a break.
Yeah, be okay with that. And that reward, I know I keep talking about reward. Give yourself a reward. Watch that half an hour show, you know, watch that hour long, one of my favorite shows. If you need any recommendations, ladies and gentlemen, I got you. But yeah, reward yourself with that, because it sometimes, like you were saying, Jeanette, I think you popped on a couple of times recently on Marco Polo where you're talking about, okay, I need to be doing something. I need to just be busy. You know, it's like, wow. And, you know, we sometimes kind of fall into that pattern, but it's okay. You recognize it. I think recognizing it is part of that self-discovery work. We do that a lot here on the Heart of Chat, doing that self-discovery. Your self-discovery doesn't look anything or identical to anyone else's.
No, definitely not.
Like I've learned from both of you ladies different tips and tricks. I'm like, oh yeah, I could try that, but my thing doesn't look exactly like yours. It's not a blueprint or what I need to make tweaks and do those things. And then you're like, okay, Jeanette has some pretty cool systems. Okay, Shauna has a really great idea on how to set this up. Like just her showing what she was doing when she was moving to North Carolina, the organization pieces. I think that inspired me. I'm like, oh, I could probably knock out these drawers in 30 minutes. Set the timer, Lynda. Because your show is coming on at 5. So that's how I was been able to get through these past couple of months, just doing those things. So small tips like that, learn from people around you, learn from your tribe, and really take in the pieces that fit your life well. I would just say that.
Yeah, I agree for sure. There's a podcast called the Sunday Jumpstart podcast with Jessica. Oh, I can't think of Jessica's last name, but she's amazing. She's No Real Jewelry on Instagram, but she had a podcast episode called the Get Done List, and I've taken that from her of just like, even if you're not a person that writes to-do lists, but writing down the things that you've gotten done that day, just so that you can give yourself you know, some credit, like, oh, I did do something. Because a lot of times we don't feel like we've done a lot. Like it seems like it's not meaningful, but it's like, no, you really did a lot today. No wonder you're tired. Like the mental labor of like working at a computer and looking at a screen all day. Some people who work manual labor jobs, they think that because you sit at a desk that it's not as stressful on you, on your mind and body, but it is. It's just as stressful.
It's more stressful.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I was saying that the other day, just how tired I was from, I had a really heavy work week recently, and I was just out of it. And somebody said, well, you're just sitting at your desk. And I was like, it's not a just sitting. I'm actually working. I'm in 6 or 8 hours of meetings. Then I have to do the work to support those meetings. So
your brain is constantly operating. When you do manual labor and you're doing the same thing over and over, it almost puts you in a meditative state where you're just, it's automatic, it's this and that. Your brain doesn't have to always be involved once it's imprinted on the process. But when you're solving and putting out fires all day long, that takes a lot of brain power, and it ends up burning up so much energy that by the time you have time for yourself, you feel like you don't have time for yourself. You're dead.
I know, you're so tired. Yeah, you're just out of it. Yeah, and it just piles on and on and on. So it's important. I like what you said, Jeanette, about your Saturdays. Like, I recently just came up with something like maybe my Saturdays and Sundays are a little bit sort of lighter days, that I'm not, on the phone a whole lot. I'm not just like trying. So I try to do stuff like Monday through Friday, putting out fires, as Shauna said, maybe addressing if there are any things that come up with the family or the kids. Not saying I just like, okay, y'all, bye, lock everybody in the room on Saturdays and Sundays, and I'm just like on the couch, because maybe part of that time I'm on the couch, but not the full time. But I recently had to kind of do that from a mental standpoint, just taking that break to have, time and space. I think we talked about when we were in North Carolina, how we shared our journey. I mean, Shauna and I, we had some recent family deaths, so we shared about that, but just having to reset and really taking charge, saying, okay, I'm not going back to that pre-pandemic rat race. And we just don't have the space for it now. And Jeanette, you talked about that too when you were saying some things. So we're not the same people that we were a year or two ago. And I think acknowledging that and taking action in those steps and knowing that we're not those people, but we've grown in such a way where we can still show up as our best selves. And I think that's so important.
And Shauna, you've talked about that before, like how it's like you can see it, right? You can see the energy shifting and like how it is trying to suck people back out into like the same patterns that we were in before. And it's just like, just remember how great it felt to not have to go. Like, I refuse. I'm not being sucked back into that.
Me neither.
I see it.
And that's part of creating and crafting and, your non-negotiables. It has a lot to do with how you want your life to be. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. And the other thing is, I'm glad you brought up the rat race, because I was thinking about us when we talk about taking charge of your life and you talk about taking the small steps. Make sure that you don't get caught up in a rat race. It's not a race to reach your goals either. Like, of course you want to have a timeline. It took me 30 years to leave the state. For whatever reasons, it was not the right time. And so, but you want to make sure that you are doing it, you're being consistent, and you're being responsible for what part you play, but also allowing and giving yourself the grace and the time and the space to grow. There's some things you need to keep to yourself while you're working on the take action part. Sometimes you got to take it back. If it's something that you can't take action right away, what steps can you do before that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
that could just be reading a book about the life you want.
Yeah.
That's something. Lynda, you might remember who it was. It was somebody in a group that we're in. I think it is. Maybe was talking about how they read like 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening.
Yeah.
I'm constantly trying to read like multiple books, but that's one of the things that I told myself, like, if I'm going to try to do the 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening, but the 30 minutes in the evening book has to be like a fiction book, because like, I don't want another book that's going to make me try, like, I don't want to be caught up in my thoughts and thinking about all these things. I just want to like use that time for like relaxation. Almost like if you was to watch TV to unwind. I said, well, maybe that's a way I can read 2 books at a time. Is the morning will be like my personal development, nonfiction books, and then the evening can be like my fiction, fun,
Your
entertainment.
fiction. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, I do remember someone had mentioned that. That's such a great idea. I mean, just like the personal development is great, but I think having sort of that balance, so to speak, you know, how you start your day, you know, you're fresh. You know, most people wake up fresh and you're going throughout your day, but in the evening, that unwind time kind of like shutting your brain down in a sense, but just you have to turn off the noise a bit. And you know, so it could be something that excites you. It could be a fiction book that excites you. Like I like sci-fi, so I'll read something like that. Or I like my James Patterson kind of story.
I'm not surprised about that.
Oh, it's exciting.
Given the types of movies that you love too.
Yeah, it's exciting to me. I love it, you know. So that part's like, okay, now I can go to sleep now. As long as it's not too scary, depends on what it is, but sort of in that middle, yeah. And Shauna, thanks about the movies that I love. I mean, you all know I love certain things, but yeah, I do. I love that point. I think that's actually a really great idea. Just something, sometimes we need something a little lighter before we, you know, turn down for the night, no matter what time it is. I'm the early bird of the group, heartbeats, ladies and gentlemen. So you probably already...
Without fail, I don't care if her version of stayed up late, you know, she's still gonna be up first thing in the morning. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. I mean, I stayed up till 11:15, y'all. I'm dying on the couch. I'm like leaning over. We're watching this show, and I'm like leaning. I was like, oh, I can't take it no more. But
in a couple of weeks, we're gonna have to see how late we can keep her up.
Man,
right?
I mean, like 3 naps.
Oh yeah, you're staying up.
Oh my gosh, y'all
start
hear me snoring. I should.
You're gonna be
yeah.
I wanted to add, ladies, with Take It Action too. If you're stuck or you're trying to figure out how to get out of yourself, to take some steps, I encourage you to do something inspiring. You can, okay, so I moved and it was a lot of stuff everywhere. And you all know that I got to have my stuff in order, right? So the first thing I had to do was I had to style my end table, my table next to my bed with my books and my magazines. And I had to style it in a way where it inspired me to want to unpack. And it worked along with my music.
Awesome.
So if you do something inspiring for yourself, or you purchase something maybe, or you light a candle, something that will give you a little bit of a spark and just give you a little bit of a lift off, that's another way to kind of baby step your way to the smaller steps that you're trying to get to. The key thing is to stay consistent. As long as you're consistent, you don't compare yourself with others, you rely on what your tribe is saying and your intuition is saying, you will be in charge of your life.
Yeah.
The way you want it.
I think that's a great idea, a great tip. Yeah, I love your table. You had your side table and then your other like
I call it my meditation.
Your meditation table.
Yeah,
I was talking about.
Thank you.
I want like, you know, something. So I know Corey really wants a fountain, and I'm like gonna get him one, but we need new side tables. Like I want it to look like nice. Maybe I should get the fountain, and then that'll move my butt to like get the new side tables.
That's great.
That may inspire you. I love water too. I'm looking for I'm so over the little water fountains because I get really distraught after a couple months when the pump breaks and I just ain't got time for it. So I'm done with getting those. But someone had a painting from Puerto Rico. It was beautiful. And they had it in Cleveland. It was large. It was stone tiled painting, and it had these buckets that were leaned on the side on every level, and the water was going through the pictures of the buckets like all the way down, and it had that serene sound, and you plugged it up. I really probably need to just, now that we have Amazon, I'm sure I could probably find something like that. I don't want the electric one. You know how they have like the electric one? I don't like that. This was real water, like you could touch the painting and water was splashing on your hand.
Oh
wow. Okay.
That kind of stuff like that, I'll be on. Listen, I could do anything with inspiring pieces like that.
Oh, man. Okay.
That's what we have to do.
Lynda, how do you get yourself unstuck when you're like feeling like, you know, I just can't move.
Yeah, man, I just probably for me rest because typically I'm trying to do things on the hours that I know I shouldn't be doing stuff, like 9 o'clock at night. Okay, like no, like I know I'm a morning person. Why are you fronting? Why are you trying to clean this kitchen and do the clothes and all these things at 9:30 when you know you go to bed at 9:47, right? So it's for me, it's just knowing when I am my best self, which is in the mornings. I'm my most creative in the mornings. I'm my most energetic in the mornings. And I joke about this at work. You know, my career is like 3 o'clock. Y'all trying to meet at 3:30. That's like bewitching hour. I need to go get some tea. Like this is too much. I've already been up almost 12 hours. Like really? So knowing that, and I still try to push myself. I'm like, why am I trying to type this? Okay, case in point, like the newsletter for our podcast, right? I was putting the newsletter together, talking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna go downstairs at 8:30 after I watch this TV show. I'm gonna do this newsletter. It didn't happen. I woke up the next morning and did it, you know, with no issues. Problem. So it's just knowing that piece of it. And I just know myself. I'm just a morning person. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that's people forget about that, right? It's like some of the basic things that you like. I have to ask myself sometimes, like, why can't I focus? I'm like, okay, did I eat? Do I need a nap? Like, and it's so funny because it's like I have like younger kids and older kids, but like that's literally the question that you ask like a newborn, like when they're fussy, like, okay, is she hungry? Does she need to go to the bathroom? Does she need a nap? Like, did she eat? Like. And then it's like asking yourself the same thing, like, okay, did I eat? Oh, I didn't eat. Oh, I haven't been outside in like 17 hours. Like, maybe I go outside and get some fresh air. It is really that simple. Like, we try to make stuff so complex and so like, I don't know, big, and it's really just the basic necessities your body needs. Have you drank water today? Like, oh no, I don't think I had any water. I haven't had any food. Like, I was on Marco Polo with y'all and I was trying to talk and focus. I was like, I need to eat, y'all. I was like, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything. I just need to get some food right now. Lynda comes back on, yes, Jeanette, please eat. You need to eat something.
Like it was something like, I'm like the therapist, like, oh yeah, that's what it is. Like, no, it's just that simple, like you said.
I love how supportive we are when it comes to that. And I also love that the three of us do ask those questions constantly on a daily basis, and getting accustomed to doing that will help you find the answers, because the answers are within us. We know what they are.
Shauna trying to unpack and she couldn't, and she's like, I'm just gonna go to this. What was it, like outdoor concert Shauna went to? I'm going to this outdoor
concert. I went to the pool. I was procrastinating at its highest.
I think that's what we gotta like stop beating ourselves up though. Like,
I said I need rest. I was more tired than anything, mind, body, and soul. And I didn't give myself the time, and then I was fighting an allergy cold, and I had to just grace it out. I was like, it is what it is. You just want to just flub this weekend and start over on Monday.
And that's the thing, giving yourself grace, because we beat ourselves up so bad. Like, I should be doing this. Who said you should be doing this right
We're
now?
The worst critics.
Like,
we are. Yeah, we are. Is it a walk around Target?
Then you don't.
Right. Sometimes you may need to just go walk around Target. I did that recently.
That
was awesome. I mean, because I was like, I need to get out the house because I
so
felt
Lynda
like
has been out the least out of the three of us.
The whole pandemic.
So when she did that, it was like she was on a field trip.
I came home with a whole file cabinet and some more stuff, like all in my car. I was so excited. I was like, Target. I think, it was what I needed to spark me to get this clutter done. That's what I did.
That like sitting in your car.
Oh yeah, because you cleared the table off with that. That's how it started.
Yeah.
I remember Lynda was like sitting in the parking lot eating one day, and she was like, "This is just so much fun. I'm outside."
I know, she looked like a kid.
I was so excited.
She looks like a kid when she's like driving by herself. Like one weekend she got out, and it was almost like She had been in the house forever, and it was her first time by herself. And I think it was going to Miles's game during COVID season still, where it was strict, but they was kind of okay, we're gonna let some parents in. And she got that call. She was like, you know that commercial where the pig be flying out the window like, wee!
Yes, that's
how you was that day. You was so happy.
I was so happy.
I mean, that was the house. I bought the house,
y'all. That was a full year. That was March 14th. So just to
got the
date. I'm a dates girl. I was fully in the house from March of last year, 2020, to March 14th. Wow. I hadn't even gone anywhere. And even when I took my car to shop, you haven't had a service in 13 months. I was like, yeah, probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they had to drain the oil, and I had to get a whole service for my car. I was like, well, I'm going to Richmond, so I probably. And when I got that call the day before that, I dropped everything I was supposed to do that Sunday, and they let the parents come to the last game. And that was the best ever. I had not been out the house or by myself in a year. Wow. And I'm driving down 95, so excited. I was like, hey, I'm driving. It was the best. I did the trip in a day. I didn't spend the night down there. I drove down. And
happy.
I talked to myself.
You was lit, like from your feet all the way up.
I was lit. And I went by myself. They had
you was by yourself.
Yeah, they had pods for the parents. So we had to sit like 15 feet apart, 15 and 20. They had pods. They said, okay, you sit here, you sit there. And I was by myself. I had my iPad, my phone, had my own. I probably was the loudest one in the audience. I was cheering for the team. And it was just so great. I couldn't believe I hadn't been literally in my car, like driven anywhere.
Now you took charge of your life that day, because when you got that call, you put everything together. You was like, I'm going to make this the best day ever.
Mm-hmm.
You did.
Yes.
She's like, I don't care. And Lynda's a person, when she's playing something, she is like not too quick to like change the plans or back out or something. But she was like, oh, I'm making this happen. I don't care what everything.
She dropped everything. She said, mic drop, the tea spilled. I'm out.
Done. Yep.
That kind of leads.
She
had fire flames on the back of her vehicle.
I did. I was going so fast. I'm like, I'm out of here. Bye.
And that kind of leads into like another thing, right? Which I know I struggle with a lot is changing your environment. So sometimes you just need a change in scenery and change in environment. Working at it, and now that things are kind of opening back up, like I know I've worked at a coffee shop a couple times, and it's just like I just got out of the house. I was like, oh, I just feel like I have so much more energy. Like it's just by changing your scenery. Like I love my home, I love my family, but I got like in my house too. Like, you know, I got tired of working like at my desk in my room, and I was like, I'm gonna go sit at the kitchen table, and I like took over the kitchen table for over a week, and I was like, yep, this is where I want to be. But so like even if you can't go physically somewhere else to work, just somewhere in your home, maybe switching it up, like, you know, where you're doing things at. So I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, I think one of our points too was, you know, I think we touched on this a little bit earlier, not living for other people and what their blueprint is for you. It's like, should you really be going down there? Yeah, right. I'm going. Bye-bye. I'm going. I don't care. Yep. Bye.
Not living for nobody else.
That's out. Right. That's right. And yes, and Shauna, you are a testament to that as well. No. Just like you, like, I've been trying to get to NC or somewhere else for a minute. I'm out of here. Bye.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah. I love people. I love the world. I love the ideas. I love rocking my zone of genius, giving to the world what I'm supposed to give, figuring out my journey. All of those things are great, but I want to do it on my terms.
Yes. Awesome. Yes, doing it
because I can't be great if I don't. So yeah, that's right. You can't live for other people because you only have you have this life to live. I don't know how many lives we have, but you have this life to live. So let's stay in the present. And this life, you have to make the most out of it. And squandering your time to live for someone else or to be busy trying to put out fires for someone else's life and not paying attention to your own, it's just no bueno. It's not healthy. You know, it's not healthy. And eventually it's going to be detrimental to you in some way, shape, or form.
It is. It sure is. It definitely is. Yeah. Jeanette, any thoughts on not living for other people? I love your facial expression. We bring that up.
Now it's hard, right? Because it's a habit that you have to break. Like you don't realize that it's a habit that you have. Always putting yourself after somebody else's. You know, like you matter, and you're the only one that matters at the end of the day because you have to be able to live and sit with yourself. Like I am a mom, I'm a wife. I love my kids, my husband, but I can't be good for them if I'm not good for myself. So, you know, they can't, and we all know them kids gonna be gone. They're not gonna be thinking about you.
Yeah, that's
They're
true.
not gonna be thinking about you. So if you're a mom and you're trying to figure out, like, you know, oh, I want to do these things, but what, you know, my kids need me, and like part of it is just an excuse. You just make you are using your children as an excuse, because sometimes my kids be like, okay, mom, I'll see you when you get back. Like they don't need us to hover over them as much as we feel like they need us to hover over them. And so sometimes it's just like, stop making I am not calling people out.
But see, by you busting all laughing,
I've done
like,
it.
Process of elimination.
I've been there. I've done that. I was a wretched mess. And if it wasn't for my husband, I would not have been like the greatest mom ever. You know, because being a boy mom is different from raising daughters. And it's a space where sometimes you, like, the maternal part is unnecessary at a time in a young man's life. And it's hard to pull back on that. And I was when I tell you, Continental Airlines as a flight attendant and having to leave every so many days to fly and not being on top of my 16-year-old saved my relationship with my child, my youth that was growing up. It's the truth. And my husband was able to give the man gifts and talents to him that he needed at that time while I was removed. And my husband would tell me all the time, okay, it's too much mothering. It's too much smothering. Back up a little bit. Let the boy breathe. He got to figure it out. He don't need that right now. He gonna shut down. I'm like, dang, but I'm just trying to, I'm trying to. He's like, it's because it's the way you're created. It's the way women are created. It's maternal, your moms. That is the way it's supposed to go. But there is a certain point of time where that young man has to put all those things together and also get the male energy from wherever it comes from, as long as it's positive, because it doesn't have to be their paternal. It could be an uncle. It can be, you know, but, you know, they need different formulas and different times in their lives. That when you're so used to caring and nurturing, it's like, wait a minute, it's like turning off a water faucet. Like, really, I'm just supposed to shut it off like that? So being away and being productive, I was busy, but I was productive. Being productive helped save me from that. So I understand that. Helicopter.
Yeah. And I was not trying to call people out, I promise.
Look, helicopter mom. Yes.
It's so cute when we see you on Marco Polo and you start talking about your children, and it's so cute, like how much you love your kids. Like, and you love your job, you love what you do at work, and you love all other parts of your life. But when you talk about your kids, like, it's like, this is the reason why all of this life exists.
That's right. Yes, let's
it's because of my baby.
I know. I'm like, oh, and Maddie even had to tell me one time, she was like, Mom, you need to do more for yourself, and it's okay.
You know, when they start telling you that.
I know. We went to the outlets back in May, and we said, Mom, I want to see you get something for you. It's okay. So we got matching outfits. You know, I mean, I was up there for her. You know, I'm like, okay, this is all you. It's for your birthday. You need new clothes. She's grown a lot in the past few months. A lot. And I'm like, okay, you know, no, I'm not gonna get it. But I actually bought myself stuff. I didn't feel like too guilty about it.
That is hard as a mom. Like, you always feel like, you know, like, well, I can't buy myself if I don't buy for them.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm the what's below a helicopter? I don't know.
Let's make one up. Let's make it
drone. Yeah, drone.
I'm a drone. Yeah, I'm a drone mom. I be flying in Miles' room under the radar.
What's happening over here?
Are you good? But yeah, I try my best. It is hard because they go go
very hard.
their dad every other weekend. And Miles will most of the time he'll stay home because he's like 20 now. So he's like, oh, I'm good. I'm gonna just be chilling. And he's going back to college in like 3 weeks. So okay. But with Maddie, it's like, all right, I'm gonna not FaceTime her 5 times. Maybe I'll FaceTime her 1 time. See how she's doing instead of 5. How about that? It's called growth. It's growth, right? So
small steps.
yeah.
And it also
steps.
allows you, Lynda, to not only have time for yourself, but that's part of taking charge of your life too, right? As a parent, like knowing who you are, knowing that you are a whole human within a midst of humans, and not getting yourself caught up, even in your family structure.
Right. And getting out more. Ooh.
That's something that people have to like. So outside of just like, how we don't take action on our own stuff because we're making an excuse that we're a mom or a wife and we got to do these duties. It's also like when you're the person that's always out here trying to fix everybody else's life and save other people. And it's like, are you doing this because you're trying to avoid your own internal stuff? Like, does it make you feel better to like save people than to save yourself? Like, so sometimes it's like, you just can't be the one to come to the rescue for everybody. Sometimes you just gotta let people fall on their face and they'll figure it out.
That is so true. Yeah,
we figured it out ourselves.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, everybody, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
So this is not just, you're growing, you're evolving, it's always going to be ongoing. So taking the time to work your own ongoingness, man, listen, you should have zero time for anyone else.
That's true. And it's like, I have this running joke. I'm like Florence Nightingale to the rescue, always saving everybody, always there. So recently, I think I shared like, okay, I've taken, this is only like maybe the 3rd or 4th week, the Saturdays and Sundays is sort of my sacred time, because during the week, I'm spending so much time fixing this, doing that, making this organized. So I was like, okay, Lynda, you can't save everybody. You're going to have to do something. You got to work on your mental space in this area. And a part of that too is grief, because we lost my stepmom recently, Julie. And so part of that is that process. So still grieving that and knowing that, these feelings are feelings of grief and dealing with that. So I was like, okay, Lynda, take your Saturdays and Sundays. That probate office going to be there. It's still there. It's still in Charleston. You're here in DC. So you need to like relax. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this Saturday, Sunday thing. And then what was born of that was the trip to Target. Yay. And the
retail therapy.
Yes. And the decluttering. So that of this kind of new way that I'm trying to approach this thing. So when we talked about this episode, I was like, this is exactly what I'm going to say. Taking charge of your life. This is the point that I wanted to drive home, and hopefully, it helps someone out there. Yeah. So awesome stuff, Lay. This was really great. Lots of gems dropped in this and some tweetable items. So we are, on social media, on IG, we're doing all the things, and I totally love it. So any final words before Shauna takes us out?
No, it's over already.
This is great. This is really great.
I'll say, because I'll let Shauna and Lynda, you can go after me, and Shauna, you can give your final words on your way out. Like, I just feel like everything that we said, right? Like, it always applies, and it's a everyday thing, right? So every day you have to reassess it. Like, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And just continue to do the work. You're never going to be. You'll have pockets of moments where things are like, okay, I have clarity, I have so much energy, but it's always going to cycle, right? It's always going to cycle back around, but you have to remember these things that you've learned. And like we talked about before, pulling from your toolbox, like, okay, what do I need? Do I need a ratchet? Do I need a hammer? Like, what do I need today? Right. And pulling those things out so that you can go forward, right? It's not a fail if you fall back into feelings of like, I don't want to do anything, like, oh God, like, I thought I was over this. You're never going to be 100% over. It's just always a constant work in progress, and just being intentional about working on yourself every day.
Yeah, love that, Jeanette. Thank you. Thank you. Shauna, do you want to tell our heartbeats and our listeners where they can find us and connect with us?
Yes. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, IG. I love IG. IG is my favorite, by the way. That's my favorite platform. And of course, you could go to the Heart of Chat. You can listen to us on all types of platforms. I'm not gonna name them because I don't even know them. I know we're on all of them.
Podcasts. We're on 8 different podcast streaming.
Yes.
So
wow, that's amazing. I remember when we went from one to one to one to one.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Amazing.
I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of us. But please come back next week and every week because it's gonna be fuego, baby. Come back.
Yes. Thank you, ladies. This was amazing.